All right, folks, Yishai Fleisher broadcasting from Judea to the world. You're a part of it wherever you are. Shalom and welcome. Today, not an easy day in Israel. 5 of our brave soldiers, our fighters, were killed in an ambush in Gaza, in Beit Hanun. That's the terror town right across from Sderot. Lots of terrorists from that town, Beit Hanun, poured into Israel on the 7th of October. And the army had previously captured this town in a few different ways, a few different levels, but has also retreated from that town. And yet, once again, Hamas fighters taking control of that area and now setting a trap for soldiers. Roadside bombs exploded, killing the first group of soldiers. And then when rescuers came to take the injured and the dead out, they were shot by Hamas fighters as well. In many ways, it's a great disappointment. Not only did we lose people, but for God's sakes, 20-month war over a 400 square kilometer sandbox that is Gaza, and we're still not rid of all the terrorists. Maybe it's because we keep feeding them. Maybe it's because these terrorists have a sense that when we take a place, they just go into hiding and then we leave. They take it back. They have endless terror tunnels that we allow to be built. They have hostages. And so therefore, we do not fight with all of Israel's might. We fight with 2 hands tied behind our back. And so today, a very hard day to swallow the death of 5 of our young, beautiful brothers, fighters, soldiers, specifically in this case from the Netzach Yehuda religious battalion. And a tough day for Israel to be like, where are we in this war? Yet at the same time, when you look broadly at the Middle East and you realize that Israel's 20-month war has been wildly successful and certainly to the great detriment of the jihad. Iran and their nuclear ambition has been set back. A Syrian regime has been destroyed. Hezbollah super weakened. Hamas on its last legs. And Israel standing strong. Parts of Gaza have been totally obliterated. And Israel has injuries, has lost people, but you can't compare it. You just cannot compare it. Israel is strong, and the jihad sees it, and Arabs see it. They're just like, wow, Israel is here to stay. And a lot of people are starting to make new calculations about the future of the Middle East. One of those people that's making calculations about the future of the Middle East is President Trump, and he invited Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House, the second time in so many months, and now they're sitting together at a big luncheon, and at the same time, reporters are asking questions that I think we have to cover because in many ways, these questions are setting the goals and the tone and the future of the Middle East. These are historic. These are historic things that are being said, and they're going to have an impact for the direction for the Middle East for a very long time. Before we get to that press conference, I just want to remind you that you can like, comment, subscribe on Yishai Fleisher TV. Don't forget to become a member and to also check out our store. You could also find ways to support us in the links below, including fightforisrael.org with the number 4, fightforisrael.org, or buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. Let's get to the videotape and check out the discussion between Netanyahu and his team and President Trump and his team. And the first video is about the Nobel Peace Prize. Take a look at this.
But the president has already realized great opportunities. He forged the Abraham Accords. He's forging peace as we speak in one country, in one region after the other. So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well-deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, baby.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
Okay, so in this case, Prime Minister Netanyahu doing a gesture, just like the Arabs are good at these gestures, so too he does a gesture towards President Trump. And we know that President Trump, wants to be on the cover of newspapers. And the Abraham Accords. Yeah, no, the Abraham Accords are something that definitely deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. No question about it. No question about it. It's a historic landmark, beginnings of a whole regional outlook for peace. just the name itself, as I've made the point many times, just the name itself, the Abraham Accords, is an incredible achievement because it puts Israel not as an occupier, but as an ancient peoples in the land. Same time, when I look at the Nobel Peace Prize, I'm like, Nobel is not so noble. It's not exactly my favorite prize or thing in the world. You know what I would have rather seen? I would have rather seen Prime Minister Netanyahu give President Trump one of those B-2 bomber mezuzah cases, you know, with a real mezuzah, a real scroll that we put on the door. They have these like B-2 bombers now that they have a mezuzah inside. I think that would have been a greater honor. President Trump, here's a B-2 bomber, which is your strength, and inside is the God of Israel. Put it on your door, and it'll be a blessing to you. To me, that's much more valuable than the Nobel Peace Prize. All right. Let's check out other things that were said during this important luncheon and press conference.
Relocation plans still on the table. Is there a plan? Has there been any progress in finding countries to accept?
Bibi, why don't I let you answer that question?
Mr. President,
all right. So the question was with regarding to the evacuation of refugees from Gaza. Is that still on the table?
Wait, he's got to answer the question.
I think President Trump had a brilliant vision. It's called free choice. You know, if people want to stay, they can stay. But if they want to leave, they should be able to leave. It shouldn't be a prison. It should be an open place and give people a free choice. We're working with the United States very closely about finding countries that will seek to realize what they always say, that they want to give the Palestinians a better future. And those who, and I think we're getting close to finding several countries, and I think this will give, again, the freedom to choose. Palestinians should have it. And I hope that we can secure it close by.
And we've had great cooperation from surrounding Israel, surrounding countries, great cooperation from every single one of them. So something good will happen. Brian, did you have something?
Mr. President.
Great cooperation from countries around the region? You mean like Egypt? Right next door with the border with Gaza? They haven't taken one refugee. I heard that some have snuck through Rafah, and the son of Sisi, the son of the president there, has made a lot of money from the refugees. But in reality, cooperation with the regional Arab countries, let me name three, okay? Egypt, they should be taking hundreds of thousands, millions of refugees from Gaza. Nothing doing. Jordan, the real Palestinian state, no, they have not taken any Arabs at all. They could take no so-called Palestinians into the real Palestinian state that is Jordan, so they haven't helped Gaza out at all. And one more, Syria. That's right, Syria. There's like empty landmass now that so many millions have fled because of the civil war there. So I think that when President Trump is saying that he's got regional cooperation, I think he may be a tad exaggerating, a tad trying to butter them up, trying to, do the art of the deal. But so far, no deal whatsoever. The Arab countries have not helped the situation at all. Some of them have sat by and nodded approvingly when Israel and then the United States struck at Iran. But to help the refugees, to get them out of harm's way, no, that has not happened. And I think that Prime Minister Netanyahu is talking about, on the one hand, he's talking about choice for Palestinians, so-called. That's true. But the other part should just be said openly. There's a war zone. And non-combatants should move out of war zones. It's just that simple. And we got to give them the choice, not just for a decent life, but just life. And that's what should be happening in Gaza. And we should be moving out. And already it's been 20 months and millions of Gazans should have been moved out as refugees, as people seeking asylum, as people seeking a better life, instead of living in the destroyed, jihadist, and corrupt under the destroyed Gaza and under the jihadist and corrupt Hamas regime. All right, let's get back to the press conference and see what else was said there in this historic meeting.
The Prime Minister, the likely next mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, and a vocal critic of Israel and of yourself, and has said he would arrest you if you came to New York City. if he was mayor. Is that something you take seriously, or are you concerned about that? Do you have a response to that?
Now,
Okay, so the question is about Zahran Mamdani, and his claims that if he would be mayor of New York City, he would arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu if he would come to town, and his anti-Israel virulent hate speech and the stuff that he's been pushing out there. What about that guy? What is Prime Minister Netanyahu concerned about Mamdani?
no, I'm not concerned about that.
I'll get him out.
Look, there's enough craziness in the world, but I guess it never ends. I mean, you have this is a folly, and it's it's silly in many ways because it's just not serious. But what is serious is the question I was asked before. You know, after October 7th, people said the Palestinians had a state, Hamas state in Gaza, and look what they did with it. They didn't build it up; they built down into bunkers, into terror tunnels.
That's an interesting line. They didn't build it up; they built it down into terror tunnels. I like that line.
After which they massacred our people, raped our women, beheaded our men, invaded our cities and our towns and our kibbutzim, and did horrendous massacres, the kind of which we didn't see since World War II and the Nazis, the Holocaust. So people aren't likely to say, let's just give them another state, it'll be a platform to destroying Israel. We'll work out a peace with our Palestinian neighbors, those who don't want to destroy us, and we'll work out a peace in which our security, the sovereign power of security, always remains in our hands. Now, people will say it's not a complete state, it's not a state, it's not that. We don't care. You know, we vowed never again. Never again is now. It's not going to happen again.
So we'll see you in New York next year?
Oh, well, look, I'm going to come there with the President Trump, and we'll see how do you know who the mayor will be? I don't know that. Do we know that?
He's going to be very fine, and who knows? We don't know who the mayor's going to be yet. But this is a communist. He's not a socialist. He's a communist. And he said some really bad things about Jewish people. And he said some really bad things about a lot of people. And I think he's going through a little bit of a honeymoon right now. But he might make it. But, you know, it all comes through the White House. He needs the money through the White House. He needs a lot. He's going to behave. He'll behave. He better behave. Otherwise, he's going to have big problems. But it's a philosophy that this country is not ready for, and it never will be.
Okay, so a lot of was said there, but with regards to, I'm not going to deal too much about New York and Mamdani. I think that, you know, New Yorkers have to deal with that. Here I'm broadcasting from Israel, and I have to say that within the prime minister's words was a kind of duality, a kind of ambivalence. On the one hand, you know, there's maybe negotiated peace with the so-called Palestinians. And on the other hand, security control is going to be in our hands. And he repeated that later on in this very press conference and luncheon. To me, it's a missed opportunity. We got to start talking about the fact that there is no Palestine. And if there is a Palestine, it should be in Jordan. And we have to say things loudly and clearly. Hey, they attacked us. And we fought them, and we're destroying our attackers, and we've captured land. That land will never return to anybody else. We're enunciating a new principle, and that principle is land that is captured in war by Israel will never be relinquished again. Israel will never give it back, so-called. It's part of biblical Israel. It's now annexed in, and that's tough noogies for the terrorists. I like that. Tough noogies for the terrorists. And that's actually a reasonable, judicious policy that is correct in the Middle Eastern sense. People around this region will understand that. And we should not talk about Palestine anymore. And I would say to Prime Minister Netanyahu, listen, you're a great diplomat, as is evidenced by this very event that you're speaking at. You're at the White House. You're on the world stage. President Trump is giving you accolades, certainly. At the same time, while you're a great diplomat on the one hand, our diplomatic situation, our global brand, our level of like by young people, our coolness, it's in the toilet. It's rock bottom. And one of the reasons for that is this duality. Why don't you say the truth? Tell people the truth. Palestine, every one of the experiments for Palestine to create it, to give them any kind of autonomy, has yielded disaster. And if your whole solution is that there's going to be some kind of political Palestine, but we're going to retain security control, then what the hell is the difference between that and October 6th? That's exactly what you had for us on October 6th. We were supposed to have overall security control, and we, made sure that they didn't get any bad ships coming in. We patrolled the sea lanes that came into Gaza. And then what happened? First thing, they created a global message that we are suppressing Palestine because we're saying, yeah, there is a Palestine, but we're going to make sure that it's patrolled militarily by Israel. But what you're actually doing is you're telling the world, yeah, there's a rightful thing called Palestine, but we're going to control it in an occupation, a military occupation. Okay? You're justifying those claims. You're telling the world that the land of Israel is a Palestine. Don't do it. You're the post-October 7th prime minister now, Prime Minister Netanyahu. Start enunciating a new policy. Start saying, no, there is no Palestine. Arabs that want to live in Israel, that want to follow its laws, respect its codes, want upward mobility, are welcomed as residents to live in this Jewish state, but they have to be non-jihadist, post-jihadist. Those that are still jihadists have no place here, not in our land or on our borders. Enunciate that. Tell them, no, there is no such thing. Don't tell them we're going to negotiate for Palestine. You confuse the world with that. It's time to finish with confusion. It's time to say, oh, we took Beit Lachia, we took Beit Hanun, and that's it. We're going to take it and control it forever and ever. And it's going to have Jewish communities living in it. And it's going to have only pro-Israel Arabs or other minorities that respect it. Don't send a confusing message to the world. This is the opportunity. You're with President Trump at the White House after October 7th, after bombing Iran. The world is a different place. Now, I could also understand that maybe you don't want to enunciate a new principle and you want to keep kind of you and President Trump, you guys want to play the game, tell the world that they're going to get what they want, but then maybe something different happens. Okay, I understand. There's a realpolitik game afoot. I get it. But at the same time, we need to enunciate a new principle of clarity, of Israel on its land, no Palestine on its land, and an Abraham Accords that's based on peace through strength. That is definitely a thing that I think is a missed opportunity. And certainly if the Lubavitch Rebbe was here, or if we could hear God's voice, he would say clearly, don't talk about my land and call it Palestine. Don't do that. Don't say that there's a negotiation available for Palestine. That's dangerous. Just by talking about it, you endanger the Jewish people. You have to kill the dream of Palestine. Sorry, that's the real way forward. And if there has to be a Palestine, well, there is already a Jordan, which is already a Palestinian state. All right, let's get to two more clips from this important news conference, a press conference and luncheon with President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu.
We have a man with us who thought this was going to be a very glamorous, easy job. He's the ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, former governor, former everything. I'd say he's a former everything, and respected and loved by everybody. And he loves Israel. He loves the state of Israel, and nobody loves it much more. And he's not Jewish, and he loves Israel. And he wanted to be there. I said, Mike, it could be dangerous. No. Well, at least I was right about that. He was in every bunker you could be in. He was running around from bunker to bunker, but he's still with us, fortunately, and he's done a great job. Would you say a few words, Mike?
Just want to say what an honor it is to serve you, Mr. President, and to see a historic horizon that we are looking at in the Middle East. And when the President made his trip to the Middle East, and then he really reached out to the new Syrian government, knowing they needed a partner and knowing that they could pick the wrong partner. And what the President did, which took us all off guard, but the strategic move in that has set up something that is absolutely historic. And Mr. President, I don't even think you fully comprehend the impact that you're having on the region in a way that is so remarkable. And it was your leadership, your foresight, you did that. When the B-2s went in, the celebration, the sense of partnership that you gave with the Israeli people was so dramatic. But the message was bigger than to Israel. It was a message to the world. America's friends can trust us, but America's foes had better fear us. And that is a message that the President sent to everyone on the planet. And it is a message that will resonate toward a matter of peace, the likes of which I don't think we've ever seen. So thank you.
Great job you're doing, too.
Thank you.
They love you over there. They respect him and they love him.
All right. So nice words, complimentary words for the president for the ambassador of the U.S. to Israel. Very special man indeed, a governor, a pastor, a Bible lover, a faithful person, Mike Huckabee. And what can I say other than, okay, get him a B2 mezuzah as well. You know, he deserves a good B2 mezuzah as well. All right, last clip from this press conference about the future of Iran and Syria and the future of this region. And in many ways, some of the most important comments about how, what direction is the Abrahamic region going to be taking, and with the leadership of these leaders of the free world. Let's take a look.
Is the war between Israel and Iran over, or do those talks need to happen before you can?
Well, I would say that the best man to answer that is the Prime Minister, but I will
This is not the first time throughout this press conference that Trump says the best person to answer that is this great man, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and he's kind of throwing the ball to him to talk about the vision for the region, which just shows you what an impact Prime Minister Netanyahu has on forging at least the Trumpian vision for the Abrahamic region.
tell you that, in my view, I hope it's over. Yeah, I think Iran wants to meet. I think they want to make peace, and I'm all for it.
Once again, President Trump is nice to regional foes, haters. You know, these are the Iranian regime has been calling death to America for over 40 years. And to say that they want peace and they want to come to the table is certainly bending the truth. And it's it's not exactly a credible statement that he's made here, but this is a art of the deal statement, isn't it? Right? He wants to get them to the table, so he wants to butter them up on this international stage. All right, let's keep going.
Now, if that's not the case, we are ready, willing, and able. But I don't think we're going to have to be. But I think Bibi would answer that question very well.
I think the partnership between Israel and the United States, the partnership between President Trump and me, produced a historic victory. It's an incredible victory, actually. It brought the greatest capabilities of the United States that are unmatched with the great capabilities of Israel and the army of Israel, pilots of Israel, soldiers of Israel, and the Mossad.
Do you see Sarah Netanyahu bobbing her head in agreement back there? Anytime he says like a more like right-wing thing about Israeli strength, about our pilots and the self-sacrifice of the soldiers, she's like, yes. I like that. She's got like an internal strength. There's a lot of debate about the character of Sarah Netanyahu, and it's going to be debated for years on end. I'm not going to debate it here, but the point is that you can see that she's got a strong Israel attitude just by the way she's nodding her head about when Prime Minister Netanyahu talks about Jewish strength.
And the combination of these two extraordinary capacities produced a decisive result. It set back the two tumors that were threatening the life of Israel, the nuclear tumor and the ballistic missile tumor, because they were planning to build 20,000 of these things and launch it on a country the size of New Jersey. And no country could withstand that. So what do you do when you have two things that are going to kill you? You have to remove them. With our combined effort, we did. But when you remove a tumor, doesn't mean that it can't come back. You have to constantly monitor the situation to make sure that there's no attempt to bring it back. So we've had a great achievement, and I think part of the effort of consolidating this and ensuring that we don't have to repeat this is to monitor this carefully. Of course, the President and I are talking about it, our teams are talking about it, but there's no question this is a historic victory. And I think, as was said here today, This has already changed the face of the Middle East.
But it's not over in your view.
But I think that there is an opportunity here to create a historic expansion of the Abraham Accord.
So he's pivoting, right, from the issue of Iran. He's like, we got to monitor Iran. And you got to remember that the bombings of Iran, the attack on Iran, that has been in Prime Minister Netanyahu's heart for 25 years at least. He's been concerned about this issue. I know. I saw him talk about it 25 years ago at AIPAC. You could see it's been on his consciousness, on his heart, on his mind for 25 years. He's proud of that. But now he's pivoting from the attack on Iran to something bigger, which is regional. I don't like the word peace. You know, maybe we don't need to use the word peace. It's regional understanding. It's regional realignment. It's regional regionalism, right? Like togetherism, mutualism, right? Where all parties benefit. I learned that word today, mutualism. I like that. So that's what he's talking about, and he wants to move forward. It's clear that the Abraham Accords, the widening of the Abraham Accords to places like Saudi Arabia is on the minds of the people in that room. That's clear to me. They want to move forward, and they want to make sure that Iran doesn't make any more troubles. I would love to see Israel annex Judea and Samaria and Gaza. Yep. And deal with the minorities living there as long as they're non-jihadist. We've talked about this. I'd love to see that. I mean, to me, it's like simple. Like, let's be simple about it. Strong Israel on its land, strong Arab countries on their land, working together. It's like a mantra, and it's simple. It's simple. And so I definitely hope that there's dreams, big dreams, that are happening at this conference, at this get-together, of a regional stability that comes through Israeli strength and authenticity. Jews on their land, Arabs on their land. All right, let's finish up Prime Minister Netanyahu's words, and now he's going to talk a little bit about the region and about Syria as well.
Which were themselves an act of history that deserve a Nobel Prize for the president. But I think the opportunities are much bigger, and I hope, I'd like to believe that Iran would not test our fortitude, because it would be a mistake.
And do you believe that regime change is still necessary there?
But I think it's up to the people of Iran.
You do.
Mr. Prime Minister, speaking on Syria, the Trump administration was fully supportive of the changes in Syria, backing the new regime there. Obviously, your government more cautious from a security standpoint. Are you comfortable with the pace of change, with the security situation vis-a-vis Syria right now?
And I recognize that voice. That's Mike Wagenheim from I-24, the I-24's correspondent in Washington, D.C. I know Mike. And so I recognize that voice. And he's asking about Syria now. And isn't that a mysterious card there? Like, what's happening with that place? Are they going to go pro-Israel? Are they going to make decent relations with Israel? Are they going to go jihadi? Are they just jihadis in suits? Let's hear what Prime Minister Netanyahu says about that.
I think there's an opportunity to explore. I think that everyone understands that the situation has changed. Before that, Iran was essentially running Syria, okay, directly through Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been brought to its knees. Iran is out of the picture. So I think this presents opportunities for stability, for security, and eventually for peace. And I think that's been opened up also by the.
But I just want to say, Prime Minister Netanyahu, peace with Syria is great. Do not give up the land that we gained in this war. Do not. We need that Hermon. The Hermon mountain range, it defends all of Israel. It looks right down into the enemies and sees if they're planning anything. And that's a source of water and a source of defense, and it's biblical. Don't give up that land. Don't make mistakes. Don't do anything foolish. Don't let, Al Julani or whatever he's called now do anything to convince you that the way to move forward in so-called peace is to give up our land. Too many times have we made that mistake. Please, Prime Minister Netanyahu, don't make that mistake again.
The fact that the president has opened up a channel, so they have something. There's a lot to lose by going back to conflict, and there's a lot to gain by moving towards peace. And I think that opportunity has been opened by the president and by the changed security situation, which we brought about with the collapse of the Assad regime.
Are there direct talks with the Australian government?
Now, let's suppose there were. Would I answer yes? No, right?
That's my duty to ask.
Right? It's your duty to ask, and my duty to ask you back. So,
You know, at the request of a lot of countries in the surrounding area of the Middle East, including Bibi, we took the sanctions off Syria, and I met the new leader. I was very impressed by him. Somebody said, well, he comes from a very tough background. I said, well, you know, I'm not that surprised. It's a tough part of the world. But I was very impressed by him. But we took the sanctions off because we want to give them a chance. They would never have had a chance without the sanctions. And one of the things we have with Iran is, you know, we have they call biting, they are very biting sanctions. And I would love to be able to, at the right time, take those sanctions off, give them a chance at rebuilding, because I'd like to see Iran build itself back up in a peaceful manner and not going around saying death to America, death to the USA, death to Israel, as they were doing. You know, they were the bully of the Middle East, and now they're not the bully anymore. But they were saying terrible things, and would like to see them. They have such potential. You know, they have the oil power, and they have great people, smart people, energetic people, amazing. And I know so many Iranians from New York. I have a lot of friends, and they're great people. So it's a shame when you see a thing like this happen. But I think that taking the sanctions off of Syria is going to give Syria a great shot at making it.
Okay, taking the sanctions off of Syria. I mean, there is a new regime there. On the one hand, on the other hand, they come from jihadist stock, and they were bloodletting their former bosses, the Alawites, and they were threatening the Druze. Okay, we're going to have to keep an eye on all that here in the region. But the way to keep the eye on it, the way to keep an eye on Syria is the Hermon mountain range. Don't give up the land. Be big, Israel. Be big. Be bold. Just like you're big right now, Bibi. You're big on the world stage. You're with President Trump. I get it. Okay, and maybe there's something messianic and beautiful at the fact that these two forces are working together in concert. But at the same time, don't let anybody bully you into giving any more land away. Don't talk about Palestine anymore. Don't talk about making concessions to Palestinians. Don't give away any land. Tell the leaders of Syria, if you guys want peace with us, it'll be good for you, but we're not giving up land. Enunciate a new principle. Once we won land, that's it. That's the way it is in Israel. Israel is getting bigger, not smaller. And it's not that we are hungry for other people's land, but if people attack us, it's an international law principle. It's a Middle East principle. It's a biblical principle. If you attack us, you lose a chunk of land. Well, that's never coming back. That's just the way it is. That's the tough Israel that you're dealing with. Overall, other than the comments about negotiating with so-called Palestinians, other than that, I thought it was a beautiful press conference. I'm not into the Nobel Peace Prize. I would have given them, as I said, the B-2 bomber mezuzah. But at the same time, we have to be grateful for this team of peoples that is working for Israeli security and for regional security, prosperity, and stability. I thank God for them. And at the same time, I thank God for them, but I don't stop hoping that we're going to take care of business properly in Gaza so that not one more soldier, not one more Israeli soldier is hurt, and that the hostages come home. First step, stop feeding the terrorists. Second step, let refugees escape. Anybody that's left there is a combatant, and fight them mercilessly with artillery, with airplanes. Try to rescue the hostages as much as possible, but don't allow our effort to rescue the hostages to kill so many soldiers, and so many have died, over 800 in our war with Gaza. And next time, don't give away our land in general. Don't allow them to build terror bases right underneath our nose. Prime Minister Netanyahu is doing a lot of effort to fix the mistakes of the last 20 years where we allowed our enemies to run amok. That has got to change. We all have to be post-October 7th with a realistic outlook and a biblical outlook as well. All right, folks, I want to thank you so much for being with me, and bless you wherever you are. It's been a long show, but an important one, because these are important words that are being said about the future of this region. This region has an impact on the whole world. God bless you, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, check out our channel, Yishai Fleisher TV, where you can become a member. Check out the store. Also, you could support the show in the links below, or at fightforisrael.org, where you're a fighter for Israel against all those bad guys. You don't want them to win, do you? And buymeacoffee.com/Yishai, a great way to support our broadcasting. We thank you, Hashem, for giving us the strength to broadcast to you. We pray to you, Hashem, to please protect our soldiers, please protect our hostages, please protect the Jewish state, please protect the lovers of Israel all over the world. Shine your face into their homes and to their families and give them strength. God bless you, folks, wherever you are. Lots of love and lots of blessings from the land of blessings, and shalom.